I call to order the February 2nd, 2026 meeting of the Yarmouth Board of Health. And attendance time. Charlie doesn't seem to be there. Larry, are you here?
Here.
I'm Hillard, I'm here. Mary?
Here.
Eric?
Here.
Okay, so quorum is met. Okay, the first item is the public comment. That's number 3 on the agenda. And we had a new development in the last 2 meetings where we had people calling in from all over the country. I've been on the board for a long time, and that has never occurred. You can go on AI, and you can find out every single Board of Health in the country, do they have a particular subject on their agenda. So it's infinite, the number of people who could call. Our town meetings only allow people in town, and so we're going to do the same thing. You need to be a resident, part-time or full-time here in town, or you certainly if you work in town. Otherwise, we're not going to take those calls. So when someone speaks, when they're calling in or they're here in the room, introduce yourself, and you can tell us if it's a store, that's fine, or what voting, district you're in. That's all. All right, everyone? Okay, let's get started. It's public comment. So it's open to anyone here. If anyone, there probably are some people here who are interested in talking about a couple items on the agenda further down, and perhaps we'll address those when we get to those, as opposed to just doing it now. Usually it's more meaningful. We get more accomplished that way. So, anyone calling in, zooming in, anything?
I don't see any hands, Mr. Chair.
0 hands. I don't see anyone moving in the audience either. So, we have someone. Great. Always like to have people.
Hi, sorry. I just wanted to clarify. So I'm your neighbor in New Hampshire, and we had just had some email conversations back and forth. Okay. I was just here in place of Laura Romney in case
Once
you had any
again,
questions.
I don't know. Excuse me. Did you hear?
Yeah.
Did you hear what
Yeah, no, I was just clarifying. I wanted to make sure that, like,
Yeah.
if you don't want to hear, you're only taking from people that are in your specific town, correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
Please
no
feel.
problem.
Everyone's obviously welcome to listen, and if there are things you want to send in to us, just send it to the health department. We welcome it to get educated and what opinions people have.
Perfect.
So-
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
that's it.
Peter Brennan?
Okay, if someone's there, just introduce yourself and where do you live? Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Very well, sir.
Oh, great. Peter Brennan. I'm up in Milton. I'm the executive director of the New England Convenience Store and Energy Marketers Association.
Excuse me, sir. Did you hear my introduction tonight?
I think I was connecting. So you said you just wanted to hear from local residents?
People who live here in Yarmouth or certainly have businesses here. The problem is we're getting people calling in from all over the country, and this is a new phenomenon. So certainly anyone's welcome to, listen in. That's fine. Zoom, or just listen by phone.
I mean, we have several members of our association are in Yarmouth.
Well, then they probably should come in if it's relevant to some item on the agenda. There are plenty of people.
All right. Well, I've already submitted written. We're opposed to the NFG policy, and I'd just like to extend an invitation. I'm happy to come in or testify remotely and give a presentation as to why it's a bad policy. Since I know you've had a couple presentations on why it's a good idea, so
Great.
I'm just happy to help and educate if possible.
Okay, thank you.
We did receive your email late this afternoon, and we did get it printed out, and each board member does have a copy of your email you sent this afternoon.
All right, great. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Anybody else up there? Any hands? I don't see any.
Nope.
Okay, we're done. Let's go to number 4, and this is the hazard mitigation plan review. So, Barry,
So the town has put together a hazard mitigation plan. It's not really much for us to talk about. It's going in front of the board tomorrow to be approved. I just did a brief summary. My takeaway, I can just read this real quickly. For the town, it's a hazard mitigation plan. The plan describes how the town will reduce risk from flooding, storms, extreme heat, and other natural disasters, such as this current last few storms we had. These hazards can affect public health through heat illness, poor air quality, quality contamination, sewage backups, mold, and power outages. The plan identifies vulnerable populations, including older adults and residents with health or mobility challenges. The health department is included as a participant and may assist with public education, emergency communication, and preparedness efforts. Overall, the plan supports public health goals and by focusing on prevention, preparedness, and long-term community resilience, which is all we're working for. It was all emailed to the board. It's 190 something pages. That's why we didn't print it out for you. But if you would like to read it line by line, it's been emailed to you. So.
Larry, did you read all 190 pages of this in
I didn't.
preparation? You did not.
I did.
I'd like to comment on it.
Yeah, I certainly didn't get through it all. Yeah, what's up?
But I did review it. I was very happy to see that there is a whole section on climate change, because there was a plan done in 2017, apparently, and this is an update. It's very professionally done. I'm sure they must have had some outside consultants working with them.
I think so. I'm not for sure.
Yeah.
It'll all be all covered tomorrow night in the
Right.
town meeting. So
Yeah, really
And they also had
polished.
some guidelines and some framework from the state and federal government in terms of what they wanted to see. I didn't see a whole lot from health perspective. Emergency, yes, but it'll be interesting to see, if there's any further discussion on what public health's involvement they expect to have. I couldn't find it again when I looked at it, the report again today, but they did have a recommendation that there be a whole separate committee on climate change.
okay.
And I'd be interested to hear what they have to say about that at the meeting.
I know Chip Riley from the county is working with each town, Yarmouth is also, on updating their emergency dispensing center updates and everything like that. I've been going through that with Carl, and there's some old names on there. We're getting it updated and up to par for everybody. So, and the county's working with us greatly on that too. So, which is helping. So,
Mary, have you seen it before? I really had not.
The plan before?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I
No.
didn't know.
And
Yeah.
they have had public comment and all, so it was kind of disappointing to just see it now.
Yeah, Larry, Eric, yeah, we haven't seen it before at all for all these years, so it's great it's taking place. Obviously important for us, well, the whole community. Yeah, whoever decided to update it was on target. Okay. Anything else?
I'm good on that one.
Okay, so I know on the agenda, there's something, there was one change, it looks like for number 6 now, or you have it at 6. Okay, 5 then is the review of the 2017 synthetic marijuana regulation. Mary, you discovered something, right? With the regulation was written in 2017, I think.
Right, Barry did, when I mentioned at a meeting that we already had a regulation regarding cannabinoids and synthetic psychoactive substances. So Barry went looking for it, and Sarah did, and found it. However, it had not gone through the official process to be promulgated.
It did go through a public hearing and.
Right, I know that, yeah.
But it just didn't get signed. So I do have an email out to the clerk's office. I'm still waiting to hear back from her. I think she's talking to council, excuse me, whether or not we can just have this signed or if we have to go through the whole process of a public hearing again. So this would be what we would have signed if you guys don't have any changes. Obviously, if you have changes, then you definitely have to go through the whole process again.
Even if it's just a word or
Right.
anything, it would have to go through the whole process again.
Well, Barry, thanks for picking up on it, needless to say. So hopefully everyone read it, pack it, and see if anyone has something they want to change. And if that's the case, then we can start over as though this is a draft, if indeed we're going to make any changes. If not, I would hope this can just get passed through and with new signatures, since this board will have read it and reviewed it.
Right.
I
And we
can
had
tell
it.
you a lot of effort went into this. This was carefully constructed. Took us a long time.
And we saw this last meeting. It was in our packet, so we have had a chance to look at it. And now we're looking at it again, so we'll just wait to hear from the clerk then.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could probably sign it tonight so that if it
Okay.
is, if nothing pending, so if before you all leave tonight, I'll have you sign this copy,
You want that copy or that?
either or.
Eric, you mind?
Okay, great. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Am I doing this?
Sign.
Or sign?
No, you gave me one copy. Was it the previous one or the most recent one?
This one?
Or do you still need it?
Oh, yeah, that's right, because last meeting, the copy we got had the old board members on.
Right. You don't need it, right? You gave me
Oh,
one.
no, I
Yeah.
Has been changed other than the names.
No.
Sorry to slow the meeting up, but let's not miss this.
Yes, to get something in place that we thought had been in place.
Okay, so the new item here is number 6 is disposal plastic foodware decision form. Barry, you just introduce
Yeah,
this?
so, the disposable plastic ban is in full effect, getting lots of questions on this. We've gotten our first, request for a waiver. It's from Dunkin' Donuts. So, speaking with, I think on like such a large one, I'm going to bring them in front of the board, let you guys talk about this. But we came up with a waiver that's kind of similar to what the ZBA uses and stuff like this, whether it's been approved, denied, the reason why I will deny it on my end, and then have it come in front of the board. I mean, that's the reason for this. Just wanted you guys to review this if you think it's good. If there's any changes you'd like to make on that, but it's pretty much straightforward. It's very simple. It's very to the point. It gives us the opportunity.
I have one question about it. The duration of the variance, if approved, it says 1 year from date of issuance. Why is that? Why is that already filled in?
Because we will approve them for 1 year at a time. They only are good for 1
This
year.
is saying that they get the variance for a whole year. That's what that's saying.
Okay. We could probably change that to maximum 1 year or until a suitable product is found.
That's kind of loosey-goosey. I mean,
How would you like it? What would you suggest it states then? Because because I would like people, I don't want to give a variance for life.
No.
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 Like we discuss in our meetings, and that at least if it's a year, then they know they have to come back in front of us to ask for a variance again. And we'll ask what steps they have taken to find alternative products.
I mean, it could be easily solved sometimes that a owner or store owner doesn't know the person next door has already solved it. And so I don't think it should go for a whole year. It's not fair to other store owners, businesses. I don't have a copy in front of me. I'm not sure does anyone have an extra one, do you, or not?
No, I don't think we had copy.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, so I have a problem with that as well.
Okay.
Anyone have any? Oh, great, thank you. So anyone have any suggestions about what to do about that, or how they feel
I
about
haven't
it?
seen it either.
Yeah,
Should be in your packet.
Yeah, should have been in your packet, no?
no, I didn't, maybe we both did.
Oh, I see, right here. Yeah, okay, I've got that. I thought there was a specific variance we were looking at.
No.
But, okay.
No, there will be one
Okay.
coming in, but
Sure.
no,
Okay.
this is just to
I'll
look
get
at
that.
the form itself.
I think it's a great idea, and I think that the restaurateurs or the retailers will be happy to have something like this that they could maybe post, so that if you have somebody coming in and criticizing because they're using a certain item, they could say, we've
We have it,
gone
yeah.
through the process and we've,
What would you suggest that duration of variance be? I mean, well,
In the, can I just say, in the regulations, it does say the variance is for 1 year from the date of issuance.
does say that?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's a reasonable time period.
Maybe we could say 1 year from the date of issuance, or sooner if a suitable product is,
yeah.
okay? And just, not just automatically give them a year, but
Eric, what
remind them.
do you think?
I mean, do we need to list it, or can it be handled on a case-by-case basis?
Well, the
Point,
regulation-
sometimes these can be easily solved, others, if it's an unusual business or what their product is, maybe it's more complicated.
I mean, I would think if someone appears before the board, they would have, done some homework to determine what the alternatives may be.
And they're always coming out with new products, so that's why we give them the year.
Well, if
Between
it's
the new
in-
products coming out and diminishing their inventory was,
If it's in the regulation, then I think that's what we have to have on this.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's any discussion. If it says that in the regulation, then that's what that should be on here. And I didn't go back to the regulation to see if it was,
So you're saying if the health department or the board of health knows an alternative product, that would be turned down?
no.
Yes,
It would be
right.
turned down as a waiver even. It
Yes.
wouldn't get to the variance stage, which is when we look at it. So, and the inspectors are going to be going around and saying, well, so-and-so has found this, so look into this, because that may not be.
and we've already started, we have an intern that's already started going out and talking to people already for us, so.
Oh,
which is
great.
nice.
Okay.
Okay. Then I'm fine with it.
All right.
That was my only question.
So no changes.
Thanks for pointing that out. Okay. Kratom discussion is next up here, number 7. So, Mary, I just wondered, maybe, I wasn't there at the last meeting, just anything where we're at, just briefly, just next step or whatever.
We have, I think, kind of two sides of the issue that have been brought out. One is the whole more regulatory aspect of it, that there are a lot of things we still don't know about Kratom. It's not been regulated. It hasn't been researched a whole lot, and if it's made a Category 1 substance, then there won't be a lot of research. And so, I think the thinking is to regulate it, that maybe the local bodies need to regulate it. The other side of it is the people that we have heard from who are using it and finding it very helpful for a variety of conditions, PTSD, depression, and are talking about the pure form versus the synthetic form, and that should be allowed. So we had that whole span of input at the last meeting. And one of the things that I had asked Barry to do was to look into Rhode Island, because Rhode Island had been one of the states that had banned it completely several years ago.
Yep.
Before I even had heard of it, certainly. And, but recently, they have rescinded that ban, and they have put into effect instead some guardrails for the use of it. So, Barry, did you?
I had Riley do that research. I know she emailed you all the regulations and update. I apologize, I'm not 100%, so I don't want to say anything that's not true on that. I'm not 100% with that. I apologize.
So at the meeting, Larry, if I can speak for you, was ready to, I think, go ahead and regulate it. He felt pretty strongly about it. But I felt like we'd wait until you were present also, Hillard, because I'm sure you have some opinions as a medical person. What can I say about it?
One of the things about Rhode Island I came across was that I made a copy of this, just public health and harm-reduction arguments that were made in Rhode Island, and I'll just read it. It's really very short. Lawmakers cited the opioid crisis and the belief that Kratom could be one tool among many to help people manage pain, ease opioid withdrawal symptoms, or reduce reliance on stronger opioids. Proponents argued that keeping it illegal forces users into unregulated channels. So that was
That was their reasoning. Yeah.
one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I did mention the opioid substitute aspect of the Kratom. That was very much emphasized in the comments that we heard. And that, and then, of course, on the other side, the Kratom itself can become addictive. Possibly. So have any other towns come?
No, Mashpee was the last one that put a full ban on it. And when I reached out to them, they said, I asked them why they did a full ban and not just a ban of the synthetic version. They said because it's too hard to regulate. And most of their research, they said that all the products that are on the shelves
Are synthetic.
or had some kind of synthetic in it. I went around to a couple establishments that had it. I looked. I didn't find any pure leaf around.
Right.
It all had some form of the synthetic in it. So, and the label on the front would say pure. Then once you start reading it,
Sure.
it had
Good
the
additives.
in it. So,
Plus the pure, I mean, you get into dosages and people are using it to medicate themselves without any.
even just the little ones right now, the little vials, it looks like a one-shot deal. That's 3 servings. So,
I mean, self-treatment is of concern to me at least. That could get dangerous for all of us. If you have certain diseases or certain problems, you start to self-treat. It's hard to be objective.
People do it enough with things that are legal. And have been researched and have been.
There was a gentleman who called in the meeting before last, was referencing a study that was done at the University of Florida.
Right.
And it's very well stated, he's giving a description of it. I read the study, and it was actually done on mice. It wasn't done by clinicians, it was done by pharmacists, and studying the effects of the product, but it wasn't a study on people, which is something that's hasn't been really done. Very good design studies that are reviewed by objective clinicians on people. It just hasn't been done yet. I know the last meeting that I was at, people were talking about regulations, that the companies that are making the products are getting reviewed. They're hiring people to look at what they have for review, I guess, for studying, and it's something to think about for all of us. It's essentially self-regulating. If you're hiring, a company to do the work, could be a conflict of interest. Obviously, people who do the regulations may be, it's in their best interest to pass something. In town, for instance, you go and check out the kitchens, the health department, right?
Yep.
We don't have businesses calling their own companies to have their kitchens checked, right? There must be a reason for that, because the town pays for your department to go in and check the kitchens and do inspections.
It's that way we're not objective. I mean, we're doing the same inspection for each establishment, where if you hire your own person, you can hire them to inspect the way you want them to inspect.
Yeah, there's standards that you're holding people to. You're being objective about it, right?
The only exception to that rule, I'd say the big corporations have their own health safety officers, like the Stop and Shops, but their inspections are different. They're more auditory than like ours, so.
I called a couple of pain specialists, and no one's using the product. And with all the problems with opioids that we've run into in this country, clinicians are looking for alternatives to opiates, and yet they're still not using this product, which indeed may, provide pain relief.
Yeah, they may at some point, but certainly not at this time, because there's just not enough
Research.
regulation or, like
Research
you said,
behind it, too.
qualified regulation on it. We went through the same thing, I think even on the human side, in veterinary medicine, we went through the same thing when CBD oil came out. CBD oil is a much more innocuous product, but there was such a variation in the active ingredients and all those products that there was no consistency whatsoever. And it's that kind of a product where it's not really regulated by, an official organization. And that's what makes it so difficult. My other concern is it's basically available to anyone at any retail outlet to any age, and that just makes it hard to feel like it shouldn't be regulated. I mean, at this point, anybody can get it anywhere at any age, and that's a concern to me.
Yeah, definitely a concern that young people can buy it.
Like Barry said, the dose, it said for 3 servings. Well, who's regulating three servings? If somebody purchases it and wants to ingest the whole product, there's certainly no reason they couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, the rate of metabolism for people can be
Varies.
very different, or body weight can be very different. A lot of things could influence.
And also the quality control issue is a real concern, because we just don't know how much of that product is actually in that, or how much of the mitragynine is in the product that they're purchasing.
Well, we've certainly discussed it for at least 3 sessions, right, Mary? How many? I mean, it's
More than that.
more.
3,
Yeah,
yeah.
3? Okay. So it's up to us. What do you want to do? Just table it? Do you want to move forward with it? So I think we ought to make a decision. I'm not sure there's anything else to discuss, so it would be either just dropping the issue and not going where, or it would have, I guess, possibly voting in the next meeting for a regulation. Certainly you need a public hearing. I mean, you need the public for sure. We want the public coming in. It's an important issue, so.
You did put together a very nice regulation to combine
Right.
a couple of the towns, so.
Sure, but doesn't mean we need to do anything with it. it's really up to the board if you want to use it, you know, to move forward. And at the meeting, if it moves forward, we can also decide not to, you know, not to take the regulation on and just, you know, decide we don't want it or shouldn't have it or,
So the board needs to make a decision if they want to move it to open meeting, correct?
yes. Yep, which would be our next meeting.
Yeah, I move that we move forward on this issue to a open meeting to take in some more input and then move forward with possibly regulating the substance.
Okay, thank you for making the motion.
Second it.
Okay, so any further discussion? Just because you made the motion or you second doesn't mean you have to vote for it, but anything else, discussion-wise?
I just think it would be helpful to hear from the local public, you know, any consumers that we may not have heard from
For sure.
in town.
Hopefully people come in, you know, it'll be posted and so on. It's relevant to a lot of people. Okay,
All right.
let's vote on the motion then. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that passes. So next meeting, we'll have a public hearing. And
Guys, 2 weeks, so.
2 weeks.
Yep.
So when's our next meeting's not until March?
Right, but, so just let me just make sure, if not, it will be one of the meetings in March. It may not be the first meeting in March.
Okay,
but
fine.
I'll let you know.
That's fine. Certainly, if anyone has any additional information, certainly forward it to the Health Department for the board to read. If there are some studies that, on it, on people that were, you know, well-designed studies and reviewed, the board would love to be able to see it and read it.
Every time we do get an email or an update, we do add it to that file and we'll.
Yeah.
We get, and how often do you want us to update the board? Do you want us daily, weekly, bi-weekly? And we can, just a click of buttons, so I don't want to over.
Up to the board, it's not up to me. If people have a strong feeling, I'm fine with whatever people would like to do.
We can update you probably, if we get a lot, we'll do it midweek. If not, we can update you at the Thursdays, Fridays. So that's all right with the board?
Sure.
That's fine.
That's fine. Okay, we're up to number 8 there on the nicotine-free generation, or NFG, and that's a discussion here on the agenda.
I think we do have some people in the audience that are here for this agenda item.
Oh, great.
Also somebody on.
We have a hand up? Okay, so why don't we go to the magic board first? Please state your name and your business in town here or where you vote in town here. So we just need to know you're a resident here.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, my name's Mr. Patel, and I'm a resident in Yarmouthport.
Okay, thank you.
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to speak on behalf of myself, and I think this is a bad idea where you're doing a generational tobacco ban. Not only does this violate several liberties, permanently discriminates adults based solely on birth year. It contradicts adult rights that's already been established for alcohol, marijuana, and other adult products that are already regulated. And it seems highly unconstitutional. I mean, if you're old enough to vote, serve in the military, fight and die, you should be able to decide once you're an adult at the age of 21 whether you want to consume a legal product that's sold all over the country. First of all, in Cape Cod, this is a tourist market. We depend on residents coming from out of the state, and they come here, and when they see that you have enacted these crazy policies that have not gone statewide. This is a town-by-town meeting that you guys are doing. And, I just find that it's not a great idea, and it just leads to a bad road where you're picking on certain industries and leaving out others. I mean, if you guys are worried about the health, you would go after everything equally. I mean, or try to regulate everything equally. I mean, I would think alcohol hurts and harms more people than somebody smoking a cigar or a cigarette or consuming vape. Yeah, not only the economic harm that it will do to the businesses, the tax revenue that the state gets is also taking a hit. All you're doing is driving residents to go to out of state to consume these same products. These are products that are for adults, consumed by adults. I don't see how you guys have any right to go ahead and make a decision for everybody in the town without even asking the town residents or taking a vote with the town residents. I'm pretty sure about 85% of the town still doesn't know what you guys are trying to enact. And yeah, other than that, other countries have tried to do this prohibition style ban and it's backfired heavily, where black markets have propped up. And that's all it's going to happen. It's going to do. It's going to send business and revenue out of state, and businesses and other ways of black markets are just going to pop up and continue selling the product. It's going to be highly hard for you to regulate and control it. And yeah, I would wait for the state to enact on this before going ahead and setting up a local policy before anyone, just to be the first, just to say, yeah, we're the first. And yeah, that's all I want to say.
Okay, so some good points. Thank you for calling in.
Don't see any other hands up.
No?
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time.
Some people here? It's great. Just come up and introduce yourself.
Good afternoon. My name's David Lawler. I'm an attorney in Hyannis, and I represent Yarmouth Mobile and Shell. And I've been involved, in Barnstable and Yarmouth, Dennis, for some odd 30 years of doing a lot of board work and other representations of businesses. And I've been contacted by numerous businesses. I'm here on behalf of two of them today, but I've been contacted and have spoken with numerous individuals about this, not only in the town of Yarmouth, but also in the town of Barnstable. Now, one of the things I want to talk about, and I listened to Mr. Patel, and he's right in a lot, and has stolen some of my thunder on some of his research, but is the unintended consequences of this from a health standpoint. Let somebody else talk about the taxes and all the revenue and all those other matters which are real. But this is, as indicated, is a town initiative by the Barnstable, by the county, based upon some funding to create this nicotine-free situation. And there have been numerous examples through history. I mean, I can give you the most obvious one, which is prohibition with alcohol. And that was a complete and utter failure, which resulted in the 21st Amendment appealing that. And some of the same, and I was also listening previously about the state of Rhode Island, and they had a ban, and then they repealed that. Total bans generally just don't work. That old expression, people that don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. So what do we have here are the unintended consequences. Some of them are very scary. And the scariest one is that if you do put a ban in place, that it is nicotine, we all know is addictive, people want it, but that's the reality. I'm not surprising anybody here, but as alcohol, caffeine, sugar, all things that we consume that people crave. There's going to be a need for it. And studies have shown, whether it's a tobacco ban or a flavored ban, that you have cross-border purchases, you have people traveling that shouldn't be, young folks, and you're creating, deviancy in people who otherwise might not have been deviant. I mean, that was clearly through Prohibition. You had law-abiding citizens who felt it okay to break the law and put themselves in a bad position. But the one that's the scariest to me, and it might involve the Rhode Island matter, I didn't research that, but what's scariest to me is the unintended consequences of regulation. Right now you have very regulated products, okay? They go into a store, they're taxed. Anything taxed is regulated because the Commonwealth wants its money, and that's what pays for the roads, and they should devote a little bit more to potholes. But the issue here is in an unregulated situation. And me personally, I initially was opposed to, the legalization of marijuana. I just was, that generation. I just didn't think it was necessary. But then you saw all these fentanyl deaths and opioid addictions from people where things were tainted on an unregulated product. And I changed my mind after, some experiences of individuals that I knew of or knew secondhand. And here you have a situation where you're going to open up potentially a product market that's going to be unregulated. So people may just not go across borders to get it, but they might now, people are going to be, providing product that, might have, how easy is it today with AI or whatever to produce a package that says whatever brand name you want on it? And it's not that brand name. It's something that's been created in a back alley, manufacturing area where they're selling it because people are buying it in the black market. And now, God knows what's in it. I'm not going to suggest that fentanyl's in it, but who knows what chemicals, who knows what carcinogens, who knows what's in that product? You don't, because it's unregulated.
Excuse me, are we talking about nicotine-free generation, or are
How
you?
about all of it? Yeah, absolutely. You talk about, I mean, the law, this is an extremely regulated product. It's taxed, it's regulated, it's monitored, all the nicotine products, whether they're pouches or vapes or whatever. There are more laws protecting tobacco, nicotine products than there are virtually anything. There are stings going on, and that's another area that I want to address later on. But the unintended consequence here is, if this ban becomes, multi-town wide. If it's just Barnstable and Yarmouth, it's not going to have any effect at all on the youth. They're just going to go to Mashpee, they're going to go to Dennis, they're going to go to Bourne, they're going to go to Plymouth. You're having kids drive, you're having people going all over the place to get things that they otherwise wouldn't be on the roads. That creates, though minimal, an additional danger. But that's not going to change. If Barnstable and Yarmouth are the only two places that do this, it's going to have no impact and no result, I suggest to you, whatsoever, other than hurting the businesses in the towns that you live in. Okay? But if it gets larger, people are going to travel to different states. But or they're going to bring in product on the black. From my understanding, it's not right, but there are, people that bring in flavored products, whether it's menthol or whatever. Now that's unregulated. How do we know that that is a vape that's produced by, a company that makes them, that guarantees that warranty? You don't, because it's not regulated, it's not taxed, and it's being done behind closed doors, and it's dangerous. And then, these are just businesses that are, as Mr. Patel indicated, that are trying to deal with adults with adult issues. I think that the big gulp ban in New York didn't work when they were trying to regulate sugar. I mean, all these things that have happened, all these, when you implement laws that are in place today, you have very sound, reasonable regulations and very stringent. I mean, some of the penalties, if you're caught selling to a minor or things like that, $1,000 mandatory, this, that, and the other thing. And I've been involved in, and there's issues there too. I was involved in the town of Barnstable about a year ago, and it wasn't I want to be very clear, it wasn't Mr. Coletti. It was not him. It was one of his sting operatives had actually done a bait and switch and took a bar, it was a smoking bar, and you had to have a product that was actually smoked on premises, and he was caught on camera taking out a pre-opened one, smoking it, and then leaving with the box and giving that to Mr. Coletti. Mr. Coletti didn't know, but he brought violations against my client, and the video proved that it was a scam. And it was, it was the operative. It wasn't Mr. Coletti. So you have, and you have people that are, a little bit zealous about these things. You get into enforcement issues, and you have people's entire livelihood involved in this. You have businesses, whether right or wrong, sin taxes drive the Commonwealth, whether it's alcohol, tobacco, all these other matters are very important. And I suggest to you that the regulations that are in place today are sufficient. I mean, that's what the Commonwealth has. The Commonwealth has very, very, of all the places for this to happen, if you go through the 50 states, we are Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey, we are the most strict in areas of regulation, whether it's tobacco, whether it's firearms. And I'm not suggesting it's a bad thing. In a large degree, it's a very good thing. But those regulations are sufficient. And for the town of Yarmouth now to come in and say, well, we're going to do, because Barnstable County has this grant and wants this, pie in the sky, ideal, but the unintended consequences in history are some of the worst consequences that people suffer. And a lot of the times they start off as some noble idea or whatever. But in this situation, I suggest to you that this nicotine-free, number one, it's not going to happen. You're going to have, whether people drive to Connecticut or they're having it, shipped in UPS from, you're never going to get North Carolina and Virginia doing this, that's for sure. And it's just not feasible. And it won't work, I suggest to you, if you look at history. And I suggest to you that this is something that should be rejected by the time of Yarmouth in its entirety. And move forward with the regulations that are in place. Again, probably, I don't have an actual statistic with me, but my guess is that Massachusetts is probably in the top 5 states in the country as far as regulation is concerned. We're also top 5 in education, we're top 5 in this, we're some wonderful things. And I'm not suggesting that regulation isn't one of those, but I think it's sufficient. And the powers that be in the Commonwealth, the governor, the legislature, have sat down and come up with a comprehensive set of laws to protect minors and then to go forward. And as Mr. Patel indicated, we have, whether it's alcohol, whether it's, caffeine's not regulated at all, but alcohol, marijuana, there's different types of, you go in Boston, people can get all kinds of, they're not, methadone, things like that are, some of it's regulated, some of it's not, because they're trying to create, and to avoid a problem because of the opioid epidemic, which I believe is the largest scourge this country has faced in, since, 50 years, maybe longer. But that's what's going to happen here. You're going to have unregulated products entering the market. You're going to have kids traveling. You're going to have people who otherwise would not be involved in illegal activity. Here you have, the birth date. All of a sudden you have, 2 kids in the same high school class, and one can buy it and the other one can't. It makes no sense, this cutoff. It makes no sense without. 21 makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. Because of brain development and all, but that's in place. 21 for alcohol makes sense. The OUI's laws make sense. All these things that are already in place make sense. And I suggest to you that the governor and the legislature and all the resources they have are sufficient to protect the citizens of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, which obviously include the citizens of Yarmouth. Thank you.
Thank you.
The people who, I don't know if you listened to a previous
I had
meeting, they made their presentation to us, and we didn't really know very much about it, at least I can speak for myself. Let me ask you a question. What do you think the goal of this nicotine-free generation is?
Well, it's in the name, but there are so many.
People listening, you're a lot more
it's in the name. The chances of, are we going to be a caffeine-free generation, a nicotine, alcohol-free generation? Where do we stop the regulation? It doesn't work. If someone is, especially this issue with the age or the regulation, it's a goal that, and it's like a utopia. Name me one utopia that's ever made it. It's a wonderful concept. It's a wonderful concept. They don't make it because it's not realistic. It doesn't happen. Human nature gets in the way. And again, I'm a history buff, but I mean, if you look at the initial concepts of communism was a utopia. Well, it didn't work out that way. You had it turned into, not a society I'd want to live in. And if you look at what their aspirations are, it's easy to sit there and say, yeah, this is what we want, pie in the sky, and, everybody, singing and holding hands and singing Kumbaya. It's not going to happen. What's going to happen is human nature is going to take place, and people are going to come in, and they're going to try to take advantage of it, and some bad things are going to happen. And the town's going to be worse off, or the young people are going to be worse off. From a health standpoint and every other standpoint, from an economic standpoint, the town's going to be worse off. It's not realistic. It has no, again, look at history. Bans don't work. Absolute bans don't work. We have bans for, certain things that, we try to adapt for. But again, here we are, we're telling people, okay, you can go at 21 and buy, I don't know how many ounces of pot, but you can't go and buy a vape? Now, and especially, and now the studies since marijuana has become legal, some of the issues that are having on this high-potency marijuana on younger people, again, an unintended consequence of legalizing marijuana. Now, is it still, I think, appropriate? Yeah, because marijuana has been sold illegal and certain people have, horrific people have, laced it with fentanyl, and people have died from it. So I still think it's an appropriate situation, but the unintended consequences of legalizing marijuana has had some of these hospitalizations in the emergency rooms of young people. And that's the unintended consequences here. We don't know yet what's going to happen. I don't know yet, but I suggest to you, if you look at history, if you look at how things are handled, that this will fail and may create substantial damage. And again, look where we are today. We have all these rules in place to protect young people from whether it's alcohol or tobacco or vaping, where, all these other products, flavored products, and the flavored products. If you look at the studies, people are going to New Hampshire, they're going to wherever, they're bringing them in boatloads. But with respect to the absolute, and that's just a portion, that's just a portion of the market. But to try to ban all nicotine, and this age cutoff, when you have, someone who's born a week earlier, can do what they wish the rest of their lives, and someone who's born a week later cannot, and these people are in the same groups, it's just not realistic. And I think that the harm that you will do, and I'm not going to, I know, Doctor, you're here, and the whole board are here because you want to help, and but first do no harm. Obviously, that's every physician's mantra and an oath, but sometimes it happens with an unintended reasons. They don't realize it, and I think that could happen here. I really do.
Oh, absolutely. Just introduce yourself, that's all.
My name is Al Daoum. I'm a resident here in Yarmouth, and I own a business in Yarmouth too. I don't know why everything has to start in Yarmouth. I don't know. Menthol started in Yarmouth, went all over the state, that's fine, but it's still all around us, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, everybody's selling it. Everybody goes there and get it. We lost the business, but they still getting it. I can tell you about the store. I don't know if you guys are familiar with a town called Tiverton, Rhode Island. Right on the board, there is a gas station, cost the guy maybe, my guess, $3 to $4 million to build. That's in Massachusetts. You go 100 feet, there is a small store worth maybe $50,000, the whole store, but he can sell the menthol. That guy can't even afford to pay his mortgage, and the other guy selling 1,000 cartons a week of cigarettes, the menthol. He took all the business, because if I'm gonna buy a pack of menthol and Marlboro, I'm not gonna make two stop. So everybody going to the other stores. So he lost the business. And this is what's gonna happen here. You guys put in regulation, and people's gonna go to other town. And you know how it is in Yarmouth, in the whole Cape. We have season. Season we can make a little bit of money. Like now, we have the road. It's been for a couple of years, and it's gonna go for another 2 years. We're not making money. We're losing money every single year. And then to put on the top of that pressure and all that regulation on us, I don't know why. You did the menthol, you did the plastic bottle, which is we are the only 2 towns around here. Everybody in Hyannis, they still selling it. We lost the business, it moved to there. And I don't understand. I was here in one of the meeting, one of the board guys, he's having a plastic bottle in front of him. What that will tell you? Why we gonna do that to us? Why you guys gonna do that to us? We losing business. Real estate tax goes up every year or every other year. Insurance goes up. Salaries goes up. Business is down. I just built the gas station, $3.5 million. My mortgage is $18,000 a month. How I'm gonna survive? Every year there is something new in Yarmouth. I'm not saying don't do it, but wait for other towns. Wait for the state. When they come out with something, we can go with it. That's fine if it's all over the place. But why we always have to start in here in Yarmouth? Second thing, those are my 2 boys. One of them smoked, the other one he doesn't. Why I want to make a decision for him? Why? They are old enough. They can make their decision. Either they want to do something or not. Please, reject it. Don't go through, at least for now. Wait for other town, for other state. See what the effect on it. How it's going to affect the businesses. Businesses on 28, it's going out of business because of that. Look at the restaurant from South Shore, from Bass River Bridge, all the way to the line on Hyannis. We dying. And now the construction. Every year there is something. Every single year there is something. Please, guys, study it. Look around. See what there is in other places. See what the effect on different state. And then, if you want to make a decision, make a decision. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks for the comments. We're certainly trying to do our homework. As I said, I certainly didn't know anything about this, the nicotine-free generation, a month ago. I had never even heard of it. One of the biggest conflicts of doing something like that is the businesses. You know, every time someone comes in, because they were selling to a minor, there we are, you know, and store owner has to pay a lot of money. And I keep saying, I don't want to see you again. Please, this is the regulation. You know, it's a lot of money. The conflict, of course, is health versus local businesses.
Can I say something, sir?
Anytime, yeah, sure.
Sorry to interrupt. We can force the regulation. Like at the mobile station, you go there, there is no way you can buy a pack of cigarette or liquor without your ID. We have to scan the ID. Force that on the stores. Make every store sell cigarette or liquor. You have to scan then what's that? We can't, they're not gonna sell it to a minor. But as an adult, I have the right. I have my decision. I can make my own decision. I don't want someone to make my own decision on me. I came to the United States in 1989. I worked hard since then. I built what I built, working hard. I'm half disabled now because of that. I want to rest. I want to retire. I want to have enough salary I can survive until I die, me and my wife. But they've taken it from us every single year. Sorry to interrupt.
No, not at all.
But this is something good if you force those scan. Force it, why not?
More and more stores.
Rule, law.
To Mr. Noem's point, because of the travel, because of all, this really should be something that the Commonwealth does and not the towns. I don't understand why it's coming at a town level. And I understand the county got a grant. Well, that's not a reason. I mean, it is a reason, but it's certainly not a good one. This is something that, because of the, as indicated previously, just going over to, if Barnstable doesn't approve it and you do, or vice versa, or Dennis, or whatever, or certain, and the grant has nothing to do with Plymouth. People drive, it's only 25 minutes, it's faster to get to Plymouth than it is Falmouth. It's not realistic. And the problems and the unintended consequences, and I keep going back to that term because I thought about this quite a bit, and that was the one thing that kept on coming back to me doing research. Like I know that they instituted a tobacco ban in South Africa, and they repealed it. It creates havoc. And I think that if this is such a large decision, with all due respect to this board, because you're here, I think that this is something that is such, should be a decision made by the governor and the legislature and not a local board. They're there. I mean, this is Massachusetts. They're very concerned about the health and well-being of the citizens of the Commonwealth. Just look at the laws. And, I think, again, that is really where this ball should be, in their court and not yours. And I mean that with all respect. I don't, it's a hard thing to say to somebody, but and this is being, it's being driven because somebody got a grant. You asked why you hadn't seen it before. Well, that's the reason why.
I have a question about Barnstable. I thought it was just Barnstable Town that has been looking at this,
Yes, just Barnstable Town.
not Barnstable
I haven't heard of
County.
any grants or anything.
Well, it's being driven by Mr. Coletti. He's paid for by the county.
Actually,
That's where it came
that's
from.
his
That's
job,
where,
but it's not being driven by Mr. Coletti.
that's where it came from with Barnstable. He made the presentation in Barnstable.
I was at a conference with Tom, the director in Barnstable, and we went to the same seminar, and we talked together about that we'd like to do it together, so.
Okay,
that's where
well,
it
I'm
comes from.
mistaken
It's not a grant, it's not Mr. Coletti, it's,
Okay, then I'm mistaken then. If I
And it's not
apologize
the
if I'm
county,
mistaken.
because if it were the county, then we wouldn't be even looking at it separately,
Yeah, the
because
county's
it would
separate.
include all of the
Okay,
towns.
then if I'm mistaken, that's an piece of information I have. Well, that's even makes it more then. So then you don't have to go to Barn. You can go to Dennis. People are going to travel over to Dennis to get it. And in Barnstable, they're going to go to Mashpee, they're going to go to Falmouth, they're going to go to Sandwich. It's not something that should be, I think, in your strike zone. This is a Commonwealth of Massachusetts issue and not a town of Yarmouth, respectfully. And again, just look at history. Get online, do research. It's just, bans don't work. The biggest example is prohibition.
Well, that was handled differently than, if this were to take place. That happened one day, there's no alcohol. It's not really the way this is apparently designed. It's year by year. It's a gradual thing. The idea is for people not to develop an addiction to nicotine. I mean, smoking, it's the greatest preventable cause of death we have. More people die from that than car accidents, shootings. It's
Actually,
just
I think
all those.
I think that's statistics from 30 years ago. I think probably more people die from alcohol.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to anybody, older person that smoked, that wished they hadn't started.
I understand that.
Now,
but
you made really compelling arguments, but the fact is, it's medically factual that 50% of chronic smokers are going to die from smoking. And if we could try to educate young people not to start, we owe it to ourselves. I understand the compelling part of the freedom of choice or the economic impact of it, but the fact is, the public looks to us for guidance, and we have available to us medical knowledge that they're not privy to. And we know that there's a good chance, if you're a smoker, that you're going to die from your smoking. Not only that, it's a tremendous impact on the healthcare profession. I mean, just as an example, when you go for a physical, the third or fourth question your doctor asks, are you a smoker? Now, there's a reason for that. So I understand all your compelling arguments, but the facts remain, it's very likely you're going to die from smoking. So if we can help some young people from that fate, it's up to us to do that. And the other thing is, if it doesn't start somewhere, it's not going to ever go anywhere. If the Yarmouth can make maybe start something that other towns feel compelled to look at, I think we've done a service to the health area.
With all respect, Dr. Venenzia, you said education. I agree. There's the education component of it. If you look at any product, there's a giant warning on it. There's television commercials. There's education in school. There's education in the hospital as you go. If you say you smoke, they give you a pamphlet. Again, that's there. But with respect to this isn't education. This is a ban. It's not the same thing. This is where, and it's an absolute ban at a certain age. What is it, 2000, if you're born on a certain day, 2020 or something to that effect?
Well, the way it will go is if we did institute it, it would start at a certain time. If you're not 21 by that date, then
You're banned for
no
life.
matter how old you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a ban.
So, but it's going to be a gradual impact
Well,
by doing that on the.
What I'm suggesting you, if you look
Right.
at, if I'm suggesting you, if you look at history, it's not going to be a ban because you have people, their friends who are a week older or a year older, and it's just going to create the unintended consequences of, as I explained. And if you want to be and you said you're going to make a stand, well, you're making a stand at the livelihood of your own citizens.
Is that, with the health implications of it, is that a reason to try to expand your business?
Not
I
expand, to
understand
to maintain their business. But what I'm getting at is, you're making a statement that has no realistic chance of working, especially if you're talking about just two towns. There's 360.
Start somewhere.
360, it should start where it's supposed to start, in the Commonwealth, with the governor and the legislature. Let them start it.
Yeah.
I respectfully think it's their job to start it. And that if they haven't done it yet, maybe there's a reason. They did institute the flavor ban. They are more proactive than virtually any other legislative institution in the 50 states. But this isn't education. This is a ban. And this ban, again, the unintended consequences of this ban might be more severe than what you're trying to help. You might do more injury than help. That's what I'm getting at.
Why we don't educate people with like meeting and tell those 20, 18, 19 years old guys and girls, we can show them that they're not supposed to smoke, what the problem, what the health chance they take in and all that stuff. We can start it with there. Why we're gonna start with banning on one town in Yarmouth, while everywhere else, like what happened? You said like has to start somewhere. Why it has to start in Yarmouth? Look at it started in Massachusetts, all the state around it, they still have it. It's been how many years? I'm not sure exactly, 4 or 5 years now. They did not even make a move. Nobody make a move, and we're still paying the price for it.
Barry, how many towns in Massachusetts have passed this now?
When we started this, it was 19. As of today, there's 20 towns that have banned it so far.
Okay. The other point I wanted to make, that the nicotine-free generation does not criminalize the possession or use of tobacco by people under that age limit. It does ban and criminalize the retail sales of it.
And again,
That means they can get it from somewhere else.
it's just, again.
Exactly. That's what we are. That's
Question,
what we
yeah.
arguing here. Like they can go to Rhode Island and get it. They can go online and get whatever they want. You can go online now and you can buy your cigarette, either if you are 15 or 20 or 21 or 30. And imagine like 30 years from now. We don't want to go that far, but I want to give an example. 30 years from now, someone who's already you know, like in 10 years, so he's gonna be around 40, 45 years old. Walk into the store, and the store see his ID, you know, oh, I'm gonna sell him the cigarette, and we're gonna have other problem too with what you were saying, like, you know, they selling it to minor. He's gonna be a minor? 40 years old, he's gonna be a minor now? I don't think so.
It's going to be
How are you gonna know which one is which?
a healthy minor.
Healthy minor.
I
Believe me,
don't,
I'm
you know
with
what?
you. I'm with you on smoking. But the only thing I'm worried about, like, why every time it has to happen in Yarmouth? That's the only my issue. Why we have to pay the price all the time? Let's Mr. Lawler said, let's the state.
I'll end it with this. He's not going to be a healthy minor. If he wants nicotine, he's going to get it. And he's going to get it illegally, or he's going to travel to get it. And, you know, and again, or he's going to buy a product that's not regulated, and that could be far more unhealthy. It could be actually deadly, because you don't know what people put, you know, some of these people that deal in the black market will put anything in a product. Maybe they will put fentanyl in it. Maybe you have this. Again, maybe you're creating something that is so far worse. And again, if you have 360 some odd towns in the Commonwealth, this is something that should be initiated by the legislature. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, my first impression when I heard about this was it was a pretty innovative approach, that's all, to trying to prevent people from getting addicted. It was an interesting concept, the idea of a year at a time that maybe we can get people off of nicotine, and really cut down on, you know, hundreds of thousands of deaths each year. It sounds like a very positive thing, obviously. You know, it's stopping, well, you know, just think of Rhode Island versus Massachusetts. I drive through Rhode Island, and what do I see? What do I notice on motorcycles?
No helmets.
Right. So if someone breaks their neck in the ICU, it's going to cost $20,000 a day. And it's a really bad neck injury. That person's going to be paying millions of dollars. Not that person. Society will. It's going to cost a fortune. Yes, if they survive, yes. If they don't, it's less expensive, obviously, to the state.
But, yeah.
Massachusetts, you don't have to wear a helmet, but you'll get arrested probably for it. I don't know the violation for it. And it's pretty drastic. You're just trying to think of the cost savings or loss by a simple rule like that. I just think of it when I'm driving through there.
Seat belts.
Yeah. You don't have to put it on, but I don't know what the penalty is if you get pulled over and it's not on. I don't know. But yeah, there's a law that you have to have a seatbelt. I'm old enough that when we first started out, cars didn't have seatbelts.
But you're assuming, you know, when you put a seatbelt on, it dings, there's a penalty, and people still don't wear them, which is crazy. Helmets, you do have to wear them in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. You don't have to wear them in New Hampshire. You have to wear sunglasses. And you will get pulled over, and it will be enforced. But you're assuming this is going to work, and I'm suggesting to you it's not going to work. And so you
You're
have
assuming it won't work.
Well, but if you look at the past, look at history, bans don't work, especially if it's so localized. And you're going to have people driving, you know, you're going to have someone driving a motorcycle to Rhode Island, and he might get killed in the car driving there, and that might be one of the unintended consequences as well. I don't know. God knows. I hope not. But that is, again, what you're doing by having this, you know, essentially a aspirational thing that you're passing with 2 towns on Cape Cod out of 13 towns on Cape Cod. You're creating damage to the businesses in your own community, and you're potentially causing people now to travel and get it illicitly. So if the ban is going to work, it's going to be hard-pressed to work even if it's 365 towns of the Commonwealth. But to do it one town at a time, you're guaranteed for failure and you're creating problems. Because if you don't think some kid's going to drive to Dennis, which is about from here, about 2 minutes, okay? Or if some kid's living in Hyannis is going to jump and, go to Dennis or, or go to Sandwich or even worse, someone's going to go buy a ton of it in Dennis and drive it in and sell it to them for a higher price. And then again, you're getting into illicit behavior. You're doing all of this just because it's an aspirational thing with the town of Yarmouth that's going to have no impact other than a negative impact. And if I'm not sure it would work if the Commonwealth did it, but certainly not this town-by-town approach. 20 towns out of 365 is indicated, 20.
I don't know over what period of time. I don't
I'm
really.
just saying 20, that's where, but it's
Sorry?
20. But all you need,
know how
but
long this is.
even if you pass 200, that means there's 150 that don't have it, and your neighbors don't have it, and they travel, or they go to New Hampshire. But I just think it's a very bad idea for numerous reasons, whether it's economics or whatever. I mean, you look at cigarettes. I don't even know what they are. They're like $15 a pack. 8 or 9 of that's taxes. I'm not saying you should make rules for tax, but if someone's going to pay that kind of money to have a pack of cigarettes, you don't think they're going to drive to Dennis?
Why are they doing that?
Because they want cigarettes, because they're going to have them.
Why?
You're not
No.
going to stop them.
Why are they doing that?
Because they're addicted to nicotine.
Right.
I understand. I'm not getting on my high and mighty horse.
There are people listening. I know you know that, but
Or cigar smokers, they're not addicted to nicotine. I smoke maybe one a year, but I mean, who knows? From someone's wedding or something. But, maybe more than that. But if you have, it's not going to work, and you're going to hurt people here. And that's not what this board. I know this board is very well intended. And, and the businesses, the people they employ. Now, Al talked about, the 21-year-old issue, and Dr. Valencia talked about education. There's one thing I was born in 65, and I remember the initial cigarette commercials probably in the early 70s. The amount of education for tobacco abuse and use is larger than any other product out there. People know it. Kids are taught it from grammar school. They're taught it in high school. Like you said, Doctor, the first question they ask you is if you do take tobacco, and if you do, they have a tobacco specialist that comes and meets with you. They'll literally come to your room and try to set up something to deal with it. So the education component, everybody knows you're not supposed to smoke. People still choose to do so. People choose because we still have, the freedom of will. And you have the right to do a lot of things, including, hey, God knows I eat too much. Should I be 50 pounds lighter? Absolutely. Do I blame anything else other than my own self-control? No. That's my decision. People drink too much. People do a lot of things that are unhealthy. And for whatever reason, and you talked about it, Doctor, but there are, people, alcohol, whether it's direct alcohol, cirrhosis, or all this other that kills people, or auto accidents, or all these other things that result from depression that, can be, I suggest to you that the deaths of alcohol are much higher than statistics will show because of the other consequences associated with alcohol. And that was tried to be regulated didn't work on a countrywide level. But again, I keep going back to the same point. I don't want to, I'm just going to go over and over the same points. This is something that if it's going to be regulated successfully, it doesn't have a chance at the town level. All you're going to do is damage. If the Commonwealth wants to tackle it, let them tackle it. But I strongly suggest on behalf of my clients, on behalf of a lot of people who, have more, libertarian views, that this is something that should be left alone. It's already extremely regulated. Its education is, is not over the top, but it is substantially significant, whether it's on the package itself or on television or in the hospitals or in the schools. And again, as a doctor, first do no harm, and I think this will do harm. I really do that. I mean that. Thank you. I'll here to answer questions, but I don't want to keep going over and over the
No,
same stuff.
this is what we're here for, okay? This is what we.
Appreciate your,
No,
and
this
they
is
are
what-
telling, you guys are volunteers, I'm getting paid.
I was just gonna say, I was just saying that we're here as volunteers.
Yeah.
And trying to do the right thing. And the first thing, especially in this kind of issue, is trying to get educated about it.
Yeah.
One of the first things we react to always are business owners here, okay? There's a balance between that sometimes and the health of people living here. It's tough. It's very tough. This I thought was kind of unique in it's trying to prevent people from having an addiction. Something that nicotine that increases your blood pressure, that it constricts your blood vessels to a degree that's dangerous. The heart rate just gets faster. Young people, it affects brain development. So it's something to think about. If that could be prevented, because people growing up here, they're less likely to develop a nicotine addiction. So that's rather enticing. And that's why we had this discussion, and we've had it at previous meetings also, trying to figure out, is that conceivable? I mean, is that something that should be pursued or not?
And there's also no factual basis before you how a town-to-town ban will have any impact. There's no studies, there's no data. This is just pure speculation on behalf, and again, I'm not suggesting it's by any means intended, with any, negative intent, but there's no data, there's none, zero, that this will work on a town-to-town basis. If you want to send it out and get some study that on a town-to-town basis, when you're 3 miles away from the town, or a mile from the town of Dennis where we sit, we're surrounded by all these other towns. If you want to get some data to suggest that this will work, then maybe you have something to base your opinion on, but you don't have it. There's nothing here. There's no data with the study. Zero. We're on this level, on this such a microcosm. This isn't a macro. This is such a microcosm of how this could actually work. There's none. And as a man of science, I mean, you rely on data, not hopes and wishes. You rely on data, and there is no data. None.
Barry,
And I can't thank you enough for the time you've given me. Thank you.
Oh, don't be silly. No, this is a big issue.
Yeah, it is.
is there any indication that Brookline has had any real studies done? I know we had a person call in at the last meeting who seemed to feel like, there'd been
I can reach back out to Maureen. She was the original petitioner on this, who put on the seminar I attended, to see what data they have from the, and this is only started less than 4 years ago.
Right,
So
right. They were the first, though, Brookline.
yeah, Brookline
Yeah.
was the first. So I could reach out to Maureen and see what she has.
I grew up from a half mile from the Brookline border. I could sit there in Jamaica Plain. I could sit there and name the stores that are within, a quarter of a mile of the border. Whether it's Jamaica Plain, which is part of the city of Boston, whether it's Newton, whether it's West Roxbury. There's all various points of areas that border these towns that are not subject to this. And and again, the data, it just isn't there. But again, most boards would have shut me up a long time ago.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for your
Thank you so much.
Oh.
That's why we have it on the agenda. That's why we put it out to the public. We're very transparent with this.
Certainly are.
Trying to hide anything.
And Mr. Lewis, I apologize. I truly believe that this was a county effort, and I apologize.
It's not.
Yeah.
That's why we posted. I know you've asked if we could individually reach out to the owner, the business owners, and we post it publicly. We post it on all of our social medias. It's on multiple websites in the town. That's how we get the information out there to people. So believe it or not, I've been on this for 3 years, And there's more people in this room tonight than there have been combined, so
I know
information's
a lot of
getting out
people
there.
didn't know about it last night. They didn't know about it, about the meeting. You know, I have some time, but I always work 18 hours a day, and I don't have time unless I receive a letter. I'm an old-fashioned person. If I don't receive a letter or something saying, hey, there is something, I won't know. Because I'm working all the time. My boys, they work 18 hours a day.
I'm sure,
They're
but
not
even-
on social media, and that's why I ask if we can receive a letter, you know, please, or email. They have our email at the health department. Carl have it, Phil have it, all of them have it. So if they can email because the health department, they have contact with everybody.
You have the advantage, you have two sons. They can look on the town website, okay? All right? So I'm not going to buy this, your argument. Dump it on them.
No, what I meant,
I just want to show you the.
Now they got it, but before.
County, why I was under that belief.
Okay.
So you see that, the Barnstable County pushes town.
Yeah, we had never heard of that. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I know the town, in fact,
Good, how are you?
Barnstable has it on their agenda, actually.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know
the
they
Board of
just,
Health does.
23rd.
For the town,
14th, Yeah.
24th, I think. Yeah,
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you so much.
I don't know if you met with.
And we did have a group of convenience store owners at our last meeting, so
Yeah,
the
it's-
word did get out somehow anyway, but maybe not as much as it should, so.
Mr. Chair, we do have one hand up. I don't know if they're local or not on the,
Working on it.
Sure.
Liam, if you want to let them, Paula Coat in, if she's local.
Yeah, well, I live in the town of Bourne, but I work with a couple businesses in the town of Yarmouth and also a consumer and buy lots of things in that town. I did speak last time as well. I just wanted to point out, and I'm kind of going to reiterate a little bit what the last few gentlemen said.
Okay,
even though-
excuse me, you work for businesses in this town or not? I got to stick with this.
I do. I work with a couple businesses in this town.
In
One
what co-
being station.
In what capacity?
I'm an accounts manager. I do bookwork, finance, and stuff with the companies.
Okay, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, like I said, all about public health and public safety, and it's just, to me, there's no rational reason why, for example, on January 1st, say 2030, a 30-year-old person can buy cigarettes, but a 29-year-old person, perhaps born only an hour earlier, cannot. Both are otherwise competent adults, but only one is legally allowed to buy tobacco. The legal distinction has no public health basis and is solely concerned with their age. The ban infantiles one cohort of adults, discriminates on the basis of age, and raises issue of intergenerational unfairness. Even people who have no intention of ever buying tobacco may feel discriminated against if someone a few years older than them has a right that has been withdrawn from them. Granted, I think, smoking, I've smoked, it's horrible. I think that what the town should do is put it back more into education. I think, in other words, the proposal would involve the unequal treatment of people who are similarly situated in every respect morally, the moral fact of their date of birth. Some rights and liberties are age differentiated, such as the right to drive. Some depend on choices or behaviors, like the right to vote, may be withdrawn if some competent adults, if they have been convicted of a crime, might get that taken away. You might get pulled over and charged with a OUI because you're over the limits for alcohol. Like if driving is a privilege, that can be taken away. But a generational ban, on the other hand, appears harder to justify. Withholding liberties from some people based merely on when they were born can discriminate, stigmatize, or otherwise, disrespect them. I think that the town should put more into education. Maybe young children, maybe bring them on a field trip, and to people, who have gotten sick from cancer, see, hey, this is what could happen to you. Show them what it's like. Just like if bad kids. Let's bring them to a jail. Let's stick them in jail for a couple days with convicts and stuff like that, and say, hey, is this where you want to end up?
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you. If there's some additional things you'd like to say, I'd prefer that you write it and send it in to us. We'd be happy to read it. We get plenty of emails. Send it to us, okay? I'd appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay.
I will.
Thanks
But
for-
I'm
thanks for
just
calling
kinda,
in.
trying to- Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. Anyone else here on this subject? Here, I don't want to cut anyone off. We have people who have not. Sir, once again, no one's going to hear you if you're not at the mic. I'm not telling you you have to come to the mic, but that's up to you.
Hello, my name is Harry Patel. I live in Bourne. I also work in Station Avenue in Yarmouth. I just wanted to say that I agree with Mr. L and Mr. Patel was speaking. That's all I gotta say.
Okay, all right, thanks for coming up.
This will not help businesses.
Okay, thanks for coming in. Anyone else? If not, we're going to move on to the agenda. Anyone else with their hands up there or not?
No.
Barry, anyone up there? No? Okay. Next up, number 9 is the Yarmouth Substance Abuse Committee.
I'm just curious, does this get moved to a public hearing or what?
No one's going to hear you. You're welcome to come to, once you come, so everyone, because otherwise people will watch you and don't know what you're saying.
So I'm just curious, what's the next step with this, with the town? Are you have another hearing coming up, or?
No, well, it's up to the whole board, not just me, that's for sure, but I would just put on for continued discussion. I don't think we're in a position right now or a time we're going to move forward to a public hearing. It may not ever reach that point, it might, I don't know, but that would be premature, that's just my opinion. How do people feel? Want to continue discussions, or?
Yeah, I'm fine continuing, and we will not be promulgating any regulation without a public hearing.
Oh, no, I just was curious because I just wanted to know if this was going to be put on the next agenda or moved around or.
For discussion only.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'll probably see you then.
Got a lot to learn, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone, thanks for coming in.
Good night.
Okay, this was the Yarmouth Substance Abuse Committee. I went to the last meeting. Charlie was representing us, and I filled in for him at the last meeting. I hadn't been there since it started. When we first started, I was part of the group that called it. We came up with a name for YSAC, actually, and it was a pretty, back then, we were just trying to figure out who we were. Now, I zoomed in, and it's very organized, very structured. People gave nice presentations, I thought, at the meeting. If anyone's interested in taking that over, it's once a month. You can go. It's over the police station. You can Zoom in. You can call in as well. I had Zoomed in. If no one volunteers, I'll do it. It's once a month, but I'm going to ask that someone else takes it over in a year. That's all. Maybe starting 2027. So it's not a lot of time. You don't need to make formal presentations or anything. It's usually not that. I know at the last meeting, some of the things. Fire department gave some statistics of overdoses, right? There was discussion about some of the behavioral issues where talking about when there has been an overdose, of talking to the family, dealing with kids associated with that person. So a lot about community engagement. There's a lot of education that's being done here, something I don't think any of us were aware of. What else besides standard things like approval of minutes and?
Duffy Healthcare presents a lot. The Barnstable County, they have people update from the Barnstable County. Like you said, community engagements. They have some spring events coming up. And they're just very active and different, trying to bring awareness to opioid. So Daniel Rodriguez used to be the head of that, kind of run those meetings, but he's no longer with Duffy Healthcare, so Annie's taken that over, and I
Right.
think looking to get somebody else there, and some other positions filled for that.
Right, you've been going, which I thank you. I know Charlie has not been able to go, so thank you. Doesn't mean you need to stop going, but, so there's an opening, and once again, if anyone would take it over, that's fine. If not, I'll volunteer to do that.
What
For
are
a
the-
year.
Excuse me,
What's the input from the Board of Health in that organization?
It would be anything about substance abuse. In other words, hopefully some wisdom we have, some opinions, some of the suggestions. It's about people who are using substances. It would be nice if they didn't, or certainly a lot of it is unfortunately about overdoses of too much some substance. So we're trying to support the town, trying to find out who the people who are struggling with this and see if and getting them some help, whether it's Duffy or whatever. These people could be addicted to a substance. They could also be severely depressed and actually are trying to commit suicide or make suicidal gestures with drugs. So obviously, it's a health issue in town.
What was Charlie's function when he went?
He was going to represent this board. And WISAC, the Yarmouth Committee, would like somebody from the Board of Health present, which is a very reasonable thing for sure.
When are the meetings?
They're once a month. The next meeting is February 11th, so it's the first Tuesday.
Wednesday.
First Wednesday.
Right,
right.
Or the second Wednesday of every month.
What time?
5.
5 o'clock, and they are going to move from calling in. They're going to have in-person only meetings
In person only, okay,
at the police station.
okay.
She's looking to do that. Annie is looking to do that.
Okay, yeah, because when I was doing it at the beginning, though, it was crowded in that room, I remember that. So it's thinned out, yes, there weren't very many people at the table. I noticed that during the meeting.
A lot of people call in because
most of us resumed.
or work at or Duffy or the VNA, and
Yeah.
some people are in Provincetown, so it's kind of a hike for them to get here. But I know Annie is looking to try to move it to an in-person meeting. And I just want to throw that out there. But I know I'm not on the board. I have been attending. I have spoken to both Mark and Barry, and I intend to continue to go to the meetings only because I handle their grant money. I pay their invoices and work in that capacity. So I'm happy to continue to go if someone from the board isn't able to attend.
Yeah, it's just something we can offer, just our expertise in health, that's all. That's what it's, a different one than other people on the committee. So there's not a big packet to read. People may have some questions, they may not. So it's not all that formal, so.
What were the reports from the police and fire department? I mean, how are we doing with overdoses in town? Did it show?
If anything, it's down a little bit.
Yeah, it is.
I don't have the numbers in my head.
Yeah, I'm happy to share the report. I'll ask Annie to send me the handouts from the last meeting and share that with all of you. But it's very, it's just strict numbers. It's not any, there's not a lot of detail other than just numbers, obviously, because they don't.
They'll give age ranges for the people of overdose. That they did have at the meeting.
Sarah, along that line, did you ever hear back from the fire or police department about Kratom, whether they had any encounters with it?
did.
You did?
They don't have any records of it.
Okay.
Not saying that it wasn't, but there are records that say that was a specific cause. If it was in conjunction with,
Okay,
but they didn't have specific numbers for me.
okay. So it isn't something that has been causing them alarm because suddenly
No.
they know about it and it's here. Okay. And the superintendent, when he just answered about vaping. He didn't even address Kratom.
Correct.
Which was kind of disappointing that he said vaping is still very much a problem.
Yeah, and he has in place the system that can
Right,
detect them.
detect
so.
them now, yeah.
Lots of schools are going with that.
Yeah. Is your school doing that too?
Yeah, we have vape detectors in all of the, most of the restrooms.
How do they, what percentage do they work, is what I'm asking.
They work, but the students have
Figured out.
figured out a.
Is it a deterrent, at least, do you think?
I would say so.
Yeah.
For a lot of kids, I would say. it
Like,
is.
if I do this here, I could get in trouble.
Right.
It's a deterrent.
They were having problems with the adult ed, the night classes after hours.
Yeah.
So,
Not going out to the parking lot.
no.
No, it's cold.
Okay.
Do
Preventive.
we move on? Yeah.
So the WISAC, I think she is looking for a vote for that at the next meeting, just so you're aware. They're looking to fill those vacancies. So, something that can be discussed at the next meeting.
No, we'll make a decision right now, so we gotta, so I assume, without any hands up, I assume it's me, okay, we don't need to vote on it, so. Just make sure I'm getting, the notices.
Are you okay with me sharing your email to Annie?
Yeah, and the link, so I can, in case I needed to, whatever, if I'm off Cape, if that happens, so otherwise I'll.
I'm
get
sure
you
they're
these.
looking for probably consistent representation, but I'm happy to sub in.
Yeah, great, thank you,
if
okay,
that's ever
fine.
required.
All right, appreciate that. Review and approve minutes, that's the January 5th meeting that was in your packet for review. Anyone have any edits to make, anything? I did not.
Looks like Riley did a good job on those. I looked through it, and I didn't find any issues.
I move that we approve the minutes of the January 15th meeting, was it?
Yeah,
Second?
5th meeting, 5th meeting.
okay. All in favor, just passing
Aye.
this? Aye, okay, that's done. Next, okay, what do we got? New and old business, once again, just for public information, basically, the first thing was about Riley leaving, okay? She took a job in Dennis, and I can just say, it was a lot of fun working with her. Really productive, she certainly was very helpful with IT issues. I feel badly she's leaving, but she's got a nice position in Dennis, so I wish her a whole lot of luck. It's great.
Definitely.
What is this in our packet for? Are we having to look over our regulations again and make sure that they're up to date, or what's
No,
going
this
on?
is in reference to nicotine products, right? This is the town of Barnstable.
Yep.
This is for the nicotine-free generation, I believe. But this is on their agenda for, I think, February 24th?
Yeah.
For public hearing, actually, already, on some kind of nicotine regulation, restricting the sale of tobacco products, what it says up there, but a lot of it, I certainly haven't read it yet, I just got this, so,
It's what we already did a couple of years ago with Bob Collette and, I'm sorry, I don't remember her name, but the woman that came in his
Yes,
place.
the attorney
To make
came
sure
in.
we were up to date with the state regulations. So I
Yeah.
didn't know if that's what this was all about, but it's not, right?
So this has nothing to do with nicotine? That was my understanding, that you said that that was on, coming up.
So I just got the email or a text this morning that the nicotine-free generation is going to be on there, and you asked for the proposal, and this is what they sent us. I didn't realize that I can get the other actual, what their proposal for the nicotine-free generation will be for us. This is just their
Yeah,
sample.
right,
Well,
I
this,
think they sent us the wrong thing.
I think they sent you the wrong thing.
yeah.
This is their general regulation
Yeah.
about smoking and what needs to be in it and all. Okay.
Okay,
Good.
so just see if you get it, and just,
Yep.
don't wait for the packet, just send it to us, all right? We get a chance to look at it, and I appreciate that. Mary, you wanted to bring up vaccines. I think, was that article, I have your original article. Was that in the packet, just about some
Yes, it
changes
was
here?
in the packet, right, that the governor has issued a child vaccine schedule, which is not in line with what RFK, the head of the HHS federally, has come out with. And I think the important thing is that insurance will continue to cover all vaccinations for children. And unlike the federal government, Massachusetts continues to recommend that every child receive inoculations for hepatitis B, rotavirus, flu, COVID, and RSV, following guidance from the American Academy of Pediatrics. So certainly still speak with your physician, your pediatrician about this, which is called shared decision-making. However, these vaccinations are being recommended by the state, and they should be covered by insurance policies, because these are recommendations that have stood the test of scientific evidence.
I say this each time, it's getting more and more confusing. And I just encourage people to speak to their health providers about vaccines. The recent change was a change in recommendations. They're not recommending certain things, but certainly people can speak to their health provider. I mean, I can give you an example. One of them is not suggesting vaccine for meningitis, which is a frightening disease to get. It's infection of your brain, and the vaccine helps prevent that. I can tell you, if someone comes in, with a high fever in the emergency department with a headache, or they can't bend their neck, and you think they have an infection in their brain, you immediately treat them. And then you probably check their spinal fluid to see if there's an infection in it, but you just assume they do. If you think they could have it, then you act on it. That's how dangerous this is. And within hours, the person can be dead if they have a bacterial infection in their brain. So speak to your health provider about yourself, loved ones, including your children, for sure. What else do we have on old and new business?
You guys all received the email on the MHABA training, SA PHAE 2-point law, so that will be in March in Plymouth. So that is sponsored by the county. The Public Health Excellency Grant is paying for that for us, so which is good.
Good, thank them.
Yep. We did just complete, Sarah and Deb just finished up their blood drive that we had for the town of Yarmouth, and they had an excellent turnout.
Yeah.
Sarah, would you like to talk about your results for that?
Yeah, I just received an email this morning from Vivian, who's the person I was working with at Red Cross, and she said that we had 36 units, which is considered a huge success. And there was a shortage in January, so the timing was perfect. And obviously, we're going to try to do this each year in January, because January is National Blood Donor Month. So
Very good.
yeah, it was nice. In the lodge, a lot of people didn't know where the Flax Lodge was, so they were surprised that building was there. So it was actually nice to see people walk in and say, "What is this place?" So it was good, and looking forward to having it again next year.
Thank you.
I didn't schedule myself, but I went to go check on everybody, see how they're doing, and I ended up donating myself.
Good.
I guess one unit is enough to help six individuals, so that's a good thing.
Good return on investment.
What else do we have on the board there?
Our rental registrations, to date, we are 63% complete on those, which is a huge number. We weren't 63% a few years ago at the end of the year, let alone being February 2nd. So we're losing a big part of that push, but we'll take it over and we'll continue to strive with that. Riley was a huge component of that number right there. But we'll continue to get that number up as high as we can this year. So, and with our OpenGov system, we are able to reach out to people a lot easier on this. So,
Are you going to be able to replace Riley?
in theory, No, but in reality, yes. Well, we have it. It's been posted, so
Okay.
it has. Jobs open if you'd like to apply. You're more than welcome. We would love to have you.
I'll look at it online.
We just need your SAT scores, Mary. Okay.
Commit to more than a year, though, please.
Okay, the Board of Health Town Report, that was put together by you guys. Thank you. And that was to go to the Select Board to see what we did last year.
Oh, and that's another thing, we still haven't gotten the goals that you have set for this year, a copy of them.
So what we're thinking about doing is reviewing all of the health regulations. There's a few that are out there that haven't been looked at for 20 plus years.
Oh,
We're getting actually another intern from the county. They're coming in Wednesday to see if that's something they can do. We're going to go through each regulation and to make sure that they are up to code with the state standards, to our county bylaws, our town bylaws, stuff like that. So we will be getting those to you soon. So we're not going to give them all to you all one night. We'll be here for a while, but we'll go through each regulation we have for the Board of Health. So
it'd be nice to have a list of them.
I have a list.
Do you? Yeah.
Sarah.
They were,
The horse-drawn carriage, I think, will be the first one. We'll review.
oh, yeah, and pigs have come up.
Yes.
And they need to be looked at. So it's definitely they need to be looked at and updated. So
The only one we don't would be green burials, I figured.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
it's not
probably don't
time
have
to look at that again.
Please, we don't have to look at that
Yeah.
again.
It's got-
on the good news, we haven't had any applications for that yet.
Good, that is good. I'm glad he survived our efforts.
Thank you for picking up something that I thought would be a great idea, that's fall
I know.
risk assessments. It's a big thing, and I believe in our demise is often after taking a fall, okay? Especially with this population in town. So you want to tell us a little bit about this?
They're going to be coming in on the 6th of February. There are, I think, 4 spots left at this point still. But they're, they've had a good response to it. And they'll be doing it right in this room here. And so if people want to register or call, they just contact them directly, and they'll register them. And then depending on how well we'll do it again, we can work with them. The county and VNA have been great with, trying to provide these type of events and fulfill these initiatives that people, have a need for. We have March, we're having the cholesterol testing done with collaboration with Barnstable County, so that will be in March. So, but this one here will be right in this room, and they'll set everything up, so.
And that's on Friday, February 6th, from 1 to 3 p.m. at Yarmouth Town Hall. That's right here. And the phone number that's listed on here is 508-957-7423. And people learn about some of the things they can do at home to prevent them from falling.
Absolutely, yeah. I can't believe there hasn't been more people signing up for it. I'm wondering why. I mean, are people embarrassed about admitting that they may be prone to falling or that they have fallen? Or, I mean, what, it's
Well, it might be the time of year. I mean, I don't know,
time of year. I mean,
people don't want to walk
walking out in the
outside and
ice.
slip on the ice and fall, or, but I think they had 4 people on the wait list, which was good, so they.
good.
So I think it just needs to get out there, and I think
Right.
that each of these initiatives have people realize them. If there is more of a desire to have these, we'll have them more frequently, rather than just once a month. But with these awareness events, we're just trying to get as much out there and advertise in the COA newsletter and post them. And so it's just getting people aware that there are events here at Town Hall, because a lot of things are at the senior centers.
Right,
So,
right.
but people are like, oh, it's here. Okay, well, so
Right.
I think it's just continuing to educate people that we are trying to have these events here at Town Hall and to make that. But it could be the time of year, I don't know, but, people have the snow especially, but, well, hopefully we'll get everything filled up in the next couple days, or,
But if I can just make a public service announcement for the people here, people online. It's sunny during the day, things are melting. When you go out in the evening in the shade, it's slick. Please be extremely careful. Wear proper boots, shoes, just to help you fall. Personal incident just happened the other day. My cousin's mother-in-law fell, and she was outside for, they think, 4 to 5 hours. So it's that's how quick it can happen. So please be careful out there. Go salt. Do what you got to do. If you see your neighbor's driveway and they can't do it, be a good neighbor. You can help them too. So
One other public announcement, it's not too late to get a flu shot if you haven't had one. Also, the updated COVID, both of those are recommended.
I know a lot of people with both who've got the flu as well as COVID recently. March 2nd, is that the next meeting? Do I have it right? Yeah, I have it right. Okay. Oh, there it is.
Riley put
Someone's
it up
all
on
over
the-
this.
Riley had it up for the last slide.
Give you credit or Riley?
she started it and I finished it.
All right.
We're a good team. Well, we were a good team.
Yeah, that's over. Okay, anything else, anyone? We're under 7 here, that's not bad, 3 minutes before. Larry, you think you want to leave right now?
Sure.
Wanna
Make a
make a
motion
motion?
to adjourn.
Hey,
Second.
cool. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.